building security footage, the neighbors' footage.
Or will the judge...
I mean, Your Honor, you're an exceptionally bright woman.
...show this landlord the door?
All I want to do is see the evidence. I don't want you to tell me how bright I am. Actually, I already know that.
This is Judge Judy. Malik Hanna is suing his former subletter, Isla Eves, for damages to his condo due to vandalism.
Judge, this is case number 62 in the calendar in the matter of Hanna versus Eves. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Hanna, how many rental properties do you have, sir?
Currently, I have 10.
Tell me what kind of properties they are.
Sure. So I have a corporate housing short-term rental company, and they're all in the Hollywood area, some in Long Beach, and I have a professional cleaning crew, I have a check-in service, and I pretty much maintain that in Los Angeles.
Tell me what kind of property, Mr. Hanna, you rented to the defendant.
It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo right in the heart of Hollywood. There's a gym. It's one of those properties that have some great amenities to them. So what it is I have relationships with different property developers and owners of buildings, and they give me the permission to do what I...
You don't own this property?
Correct.
Somebody else owns the property?
Correct. However, the lease is under my name.
And you lease a series of properties in the Los Angeles area?
Correct.
Under a corporate name?
Correct.
And in the property that you have that Miss Eves sublet from you, because in effect that was a sublet for a couple of days.
Yes, Your Honor.
And your lease allows you to do leasing for as limited a time as 2 days.
Correct, Your Honor.
Anyway, tell me on what dates you rented this particular apartment in Hollywood to the defendant.
Yes, Your Honor. So Miss Eves, I have here on my records that she checked in August 25th and checked out August 27th. She booked via booking.com. Then I have here proof of that reservation if you'd like to see it.
Yes, I would like to see it. Okay, so you rented this for $475 is the room price, and that included cleaning fee.
Correct, Your
Correct, of
Honor.
$95 per stay.
Correct.
Okay.
Which it wasn't
And
clean
there was
when I
supposed to
moved
be
in there.
two. Shh, don't interrupt. That's supposed to include 2 adults and 7 children.
Correct. Your
Correct. Tell me the purpose of this rental.
The purpose of the rental was I was in town to do a video shoot, and my children were a part of it because I have an entertainment company.
You were going to do an entertainment video.
Yes.
Your children were the subjects of the video?
Yes.
So in addition to you and the children, did you have other people there to shoot the video?
Yes, ma'am. I had other artists.
How many?
In video, but they weren't all at the property at the same time.
Well, we're going to go over this slowly.
That's fine.
Miss Eves.
I had 3 camera people.
Did you have an audio person?
Yes, they were part
What
of
do
the
you mean?
3-man crew.
Okay. And was this a music video? Was it to advertise a product? What was it supposed to be?
To advertise a song that I wrote, because I'm a songwriter as well.
And what were the children doing there?
Just acting out like a family scene, sitting at the table.
How old are the children?
9, 11, 4, 17, 16. And then there was one that was another 16-year-old. And then there was a 17-year-old who was one of my music artists.
Were these all your children, or did some of them have their parents there as well?
They were not all my children. The 2 that came from Atlanta were my music artist and his younger brother.
Your allegation that either the defendant or someone in her group caused damage to the property, and you say the damage was in excess of $1,800.
Correct, Your Honor.
So do you have photographs of the damage?
I do, Your Honor. I have a police report. I have a building security footage. I have the neighbors' footage. I have the messages from the property owner and the building manager, and pictures that I could show you right now if you'd like to see.
Okay, with the exception of the messages from the building manager, I would like to see first a police report. And I'd like you, when you get that out, to tell me how you became alerted that there was a problem in the building.
So here's the police report so you can view that. Essentially, I'm not physically on site, and I got a call from the building manager. And I have those messages as well saying, Malik, we have an incident.
Just don't tell me what the message said. Okay. Was that on the 27th?
That was...
What date was that? Because I can't read this police report.
No worries.
It's too light.
Okay, date and time of occurrence is 8/28/20.
Miss Eves, when did you leave the building?
On the 27th, and it was
to the 27th?
Yes. No, I booked it from the 25th to the 26th, but because it was so disgusting when I moved in there, the lady that I called said that she would give me a free extra day because she had no idea that the unit looked like...
Just a second. You can't... Listen to me. Listen to me. You can't tell me what somebody else told you.
Well, it was
All
the
I
person
asked
on
you
the
was,
lease.
when you left, it doesn't matter. It's still hearsay.
Okay.
Like, he couldn't tell me what the building manager said, even in a text.
True.
Do you understand?
I have the pictures of the
Did
building.
you leave on the 27th or the 28th?
On the 27th, ma'am.
That's not correct,
Okay,
Your
that's
Honor.
even though you... Just a second. That's even though you just told me that you were told that you could have an extra day. You decided not to take the extra day.
Yes, I left on the 28th. I'm sorry about that. Yes, I left on the 28th. I apologize.
Okay. Now, do you have photographs to show me of the apartment, of the vandalism that you claim was committed by Miss Eves or someone in her party?
I do, Your Honor.
I'd like to see them.
Absolutely. So here is the first footage. This is a footage over here, as you can see, of the elevator. And once again, the damage wasn't done inside the actual unit, but it was done to the actual building. Therefore, obviously...
Evidence of who did that to the building?
I do. I also have additional evidence.
I'd like to see it.
Absolutely.
Just a second.
Sure.
Let's go one at a time. I'd
it.
like to see the evidence that you have that ties the defendant with that damage to the building.
You got it. Can I show you a couple of more pictures before we play the video?
Sure.
Okay. So this is the actual front of the building. This is the main door for the entire building. It was completely taken off. You'll see the gentleman who, I don't know if it's her son. In the video, as you can see, he does claim it's his mother, and you will hear that on the video as well. And this is the third damage. Whether he punched it or kicked it, it's the elevator button that's kicked in.
Got it.
Yes. Those are...
That's three items of damage.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Now we have to connect that. Once you connect that to either the defendant or someone in her party, she's responsible to pay for it.
Absolutely.
You would agree with that, Miss Eves? Just a second. You would agree with that, Miss Eves?
No, because I did
Miss
not...
Miss Eves, follow my question. If Mr. Hanna has proof to show me that clearly is damage to the building, if Mr. Hanna has proof that either you or someone in this group of young people caused damage to the building, you understand that you would be responsible.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm not responsible for someone who was not my kid, not in my room, just because we're both black. I, like I said, have an entertainment company. The person who did the damage...
No,
I was in the shower when all this went on.
It doesn't matter.
I don't even personally know.
It doesn't, just, Miss Eves, it's a legal question. If you brought people into the apartment that you signed a lease for 2 days and stayed an extra day, and one of those people caused damage to the building, whether you were there or not, you're responsible. Just as Mr. Hanna, who wasn't even in the building, is responsible to the building for that damage. That's his legal responsibility because he sublet it to you and somebody, I shouldn't say, because he hasn't proven it to me, all I'm asking you is, I'm not even asking you, I'm telling you you're responsible. If one of those kids caused damage, there's no question about that. Now I'll see the video.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Say, you know I'm tripping. You my phone. Oh God, I'm busting. Look at me. Yeah, DS1. Yeah,
who is that, Miss Eves? Miss Eves, who is that? Who is that?
I don't personally have connection with that person. That is...
Your Honor, can you see the video, please?
Just a second. I just asked you who it was. Stop the video, please.
A music
I just asked you who it was.
A music artist. Let me talk. Excuse me.
Just sit down. Oh. Sit.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your Honor, you're an exceptionally bright woman. I think we can decipher that this is...
No, let's, just a second.
just
Mr.
crazy.
Hanna, I don't want you to tell me how bright I am. Actually, I already know that.
Malik Hanna says his former short-term subletter, Isla Eves, owes for damages to his condo due to vandalism.
Now, I just asked you who it was.
She's asking. She stood up because I was in the shower, and she's a music artist.
No, but did you see that?
She's a music artist, and she knows him.
Did you see the video?
She knows him because she's a music artist.
Are you able to see the video? That's a yes or a no. Are you able to see the video?
I saw it.
Okay. All I asked you is the name of the person who is in that video.
I don't know the person personally. I just said
You've never
that
seen him before.
I've
No,
seen
just a
him.
second.
I've seen him at a studio session before.
Okay. Did you see him, Miss Eves, on the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, or the 28th?
I seen him the night of the 27th when he was in the lobby waiting on a ride, he said. The next morning, he came to my door, banging on my door, and I'm like, who's at my door? She answered, my daughter answered the door, and I was in the shower. I said, who the heck is that banging on my door? And she goes, oh, the music artist that was at the studio the other night said that somebody stole his phone. He fell asleep waiting on his ride and missed his lift in the lobby. And the lady,
Miss Eves, what studio?
A recording studio.
Okay. Had he spent any time other than on the 28th at this apartment?
Yes, he did, because he came to somebody's party that was not my party. It was his tenant's party.
Do you have, Mr. Hanna, another apartment in that building?
I do not, Your Honor. It's that Miss Eves is clearly lying because you could also hear the audio footage, which we can play. And I quote, Your Honor, it says, let me take some down and you stay up here. This is the day of her checkout. I'm not going to let the police, excuse my French, with my kids and my family. She actually said that. We can clearly play that footage.
I
It's
did.
very clear.
I did.
This is disrespectful. It is really wrong that you are lying.
I did, and it was in regards to my little small children because they had no idea.
We have him on video.
I don't
We
care.
have him in
No, I was
Just a
speaking
second.
of my children.
Mr. Hanna,
I was speaking of my
You
children.
can speak to the judge.
I was speaking of
No,
my children.
Miss Eves, look at me.
I was speaking of my children because it was scaring my kids. So I said, nobody's going to with my kids. That's true, in fact.
Okay, shh.
I wasn't speaking on the young man who was going off.
Miss Eves, Miss Eves, I want you to pay attention to me. This young man is coming from the apartment that you were renting in this video. He is coming just as, if she's going to speak, put her out. If she's going to speak, put her out. She doesn't listen. Out. Out. If I need her, I'll call her back. My question to you is, from the apartment that you rented from Mr. Hanna.
First of all, I'm not aware of that
That's
because
either
I
a
was
yes
in
or
the
no.
shower. I was in the shower. She
No,
was
but you know what
present.
the apartment looks like.
Yes.
Just a second. You know what the apartment
Okay,
looks
replay
like.
the video
hallway.
and I'll see. If
Good.
it's
Let's play
in
it
the area of
again.
my-
Let's play it again.
Sleep. They get called. Say, nigga, I'm tripping. You my phone. Oh God, I'm busting. Look at me. Yeah, DS1. Yeah, follow me on Instagram. D.ESSE.1. Oh God.
That wasn't my apartment. Excuse me. That's not my apartment. My apartment was on the side. That's not my
That's a
apartment.
blatant lie, Your Honor. That is a
coming
blatant
from the
lie, and I
lady.
can prove it.
He was coming from the lady's apartment.
Who are those other two people?
Those other two kids from Atlanta were telling him to just leave the building because my kids were freaking out and it was too much going on.
You can watch the footage
So
right
your
now.
two children, just a second.
Why are you recording me? I didn't do anything.
Your
I
Honor,
see that?
you're an exceptionally bright woman. I think we can decipher that this is...
No, let's just a
This
second.
is just crazy.
Mr. Hanna, I'm glad you came prepared. All I am, actually, I already know that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
all I have to do is find against her. But what I could do to you is dismiss your case, and then good luck getting the $1,800 bucks.
I understand.
You have a turn, and then I rule. That's the way the game is played.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Malik Hanna claims guests of his former subletter, Isla Eves, vandalized his condo.
Okay, the only thing that I have to see is put together. You don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this is someone connected with the defendant. There has to be more evidence than not.
Sure.
That someone connected to your subtenant caused the damage to the building. And if there is more evidence than not, I'm satisfied. Now you can move over, and I'd like you to bring in Miss Eve's daughter.
You know you're lying, so cut it out.
Miss Eve, hey, Mr. Hanna.
I'm sorry.
Just be quiet, because you already called my phone harassing me.
Ma'am.
You already called.
If you answer,
my phone
you see,
harassing.
it's very easy.
And I
It's
didn't do
very
anything.
easy with Miss Eves. All I have to do is find against her. But what I could do to you is dismiss your case, and then good luck. You want
sorry,
to
Your
have a
Honor.
conversation with her, go outside and have a conversation. And here, I'm in charge, so you have a turn, and then I rule. That's the way the game is played.
You got it, Judge.
All right. Now I'm going to question your daughter. Do you understand? You are not to say anything.
That's fine.
Yes, ma'am. I apologize.
Tell me
for
your
earlier.
first name.
Promise.
What is the name of the young man who broke the door?
I only know his artist name, Drip the Prince. That's all. That's all I know.
How did you get in touch with him?
The 27th, we went to the studio to record, and he happened to be in our session.
Is what you're telling me that the next time you saw him was on the 28th when he caused that damage to the building?
No, Your Honor. Listen, so we seen him, right? And he's like, where you guys staying? And we told him. So he's like, okay, my house is close by, and I'm going to get a lift from there, right? So then we was like, you can't come upstairs. You got to sit in the lobby because we're not going to break, like, any rules or anything. So he's like, okay, that's fine. And then after that, the next time I seen him is when he banged on the door and told us somebody stole his phone. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I want to know how he got back to your building.
He got in a car, like a lift.
And when he got in the car, what brought him to your building?
We told him he can sit in the lobby and wait. He said he was locked out of his home.
Who told him that he could sit? Was it you? Your
Yeah.
mother?
It was
Someone
me. My
else?
mom didn't
Did
know.
you have a key to get into the lobby, or is it a buzzer system? How do you get into the lobby?
It's a buzzer system. She had a key. I didn't.
Just a sec. Your mom had a key, so your mom opened the door, the front door.
No, someone else opened
In
it.
order to get into the building, who opened it?
Someone else opened it that was outside.
Okay, and then your mom went in?
She went in. I stayed
And
outside.
who let the young man into the lobby?
That's why I waited outside for him.
Thank you very much. Now you can sit down. May I see the bills, please?
Absolutely.
For the damage?
Absolutely, Your Honor. This is the invoice from the building manager that was sent over to me, and all I'm asking is for that damage.
Go ahead. 1841, judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
This case is concluded. The parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
Julie starts like punching me and attacking me on my face.
You had a girl fight.
They broke my nose and I'm not happy with that.
Judge Judy.
This is ludicrous.
Judge Judy is wonderful, and I just wanted justice to be served at the end of the day.
It's not my child, and I don't care, and I'm not paying for it.
It's kind of sad that in the midst of all these awful times that someone like that could pull something like this off.
Divorced parents relive their breakup.
Which, if any, of the children came with you?
The two youngest ones.
No, all the children stay with me. There's a truth-telling problem.
So living together again was a mistake.
She did move back into the house.
Yes, ma'am. It was a tumultuous relationship.
You have 4 children, and you have 2 young ones. They're the only victims of your irresponsible behavior and hers.
This is Judge Judy. Thomas Mercer is suing his ex-wife, Jennifer Mercer, for an unpaid loan to buy a car.
Judge's case number 79 on the calendar in the matter of Mercer versus Mercer. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Mercer, the defendant is your former wife, and you have children together. How many?
4, 11, and 8, Your Honor.
You were married in what year, sir?
We were married in 1999.
And divorced in what year?
We separated late 2012 and divorced in 2016.
You separated in what year? I didn't hear that.
Late 2012.
And according to you, divorced in 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember in what month you divorced in 2016?
I don't.
Do you remember, Ms. Mercer?
What
month in 2016?
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, you do remember in what year in 2017 that you reconciled. What month was that?
I believe I wrote it down here. I believe the month of May is when we did.
Okay, Miss Mercer, were your 11 and 8-year-old children in school when you reconciled?
Yes.
Were they actually attending school, so it was in the winter, spring, as opposed to the summer?
I believe the summer, yes.
When you say you reconciled, in the divorce, sir, listen to me, that's not your story, that's her story. In the divorce, who got the house?
Me, Your Honor.
You did?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And where did you move, Mrs. Mercer?
I moved into an apartment.
Which, if any, of the children came with you?
I took the 2 youngest ones. The 2 oldest wanted to stay.
No. All the children stayed with me.
Just a second.
Sorry, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I took the youngest ones. They were only 1 and 3 at the time.
And the 2 older ones who were then in 2016, 15 and 18, they stayed with their father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did the judgment of divorce provide for custody, Ms. Mercer?
Yes.
Who had physical custody of the children?
Thomas was awarded physical custody.
Of all 4 children?
Yes.
Was that on consent, or was there a hearing?
We had a
trial.
We had a 3.5-year trial, roughly.
You mean during this 2012 to 2016 separation, there was a trial?
There was.
That took a long time?
Yes.
And during that time, where were the 2 youngest children? With you or with their father?
We were doing like a temporary order where the judge had time with me and then time with Thomas, with the kids. So it was a temporary order until it was final.
That took too long for whatever reason.
Yes, it did.
I cannot imagine what reason. A trial involving young children takes 3 years. Ridiculous. All right. Now, at some point, you moved back into the house. That was in the summer of 2017?
Yes.
How long did you stay there?
A little over a year. I was told I couldn't return.
What month? What month?
It was in May.
So you were there for about a year?
Yes.
And, Mr. Mercer, this is your claim. Your claim is that in 2017 or 18, your former wife needed a car. You loaned her money for a car in which you took out a personal loan.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And in what month and year did you do that?
The loan was taken out in 2019. Your Honor, can I back up a little bit before that?
Just a second. Is what you're telling me, you're going to have to show me the loan papers. Do you have the loan papers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I want you to look at them and tell me what month and year you took out the loan. You say in June 2019, I loaned her $3,500 so she could repair her car. Within 2 months, it wasn't working, and she needed another $9,000.
Yes, ma'am.
It's more money than I
5-1.
had. So let me see it. Put it up on the evidence screen. The first loan that you say was June 2019. So in May 2019, which according to your former wife is the year after she moved out, because she did move back into the house.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was in 2017 to 2018.
The house until recently.
Until recently.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want to make certain. So she moved into the house in 2017, and she moved out recently in 2020.
Yes, ma'am.
And during that time, she lived together with you and the 4 children.
Yes, ma'am. It was off and on again, Your Honor. She would She came to me in 2017 saying she needed somewhere to stay. So we weren't necessarily reconciling at that time. She needed somewhere to stay.
Mr. Mercer, if you think, Mr. Mercer, that I think that your former wife came to live with you and the 4 children, and the 2 of you didn't resume cohabitating. Do you know what I'm referring to?
Yes, living together.
This is a PG show. Yes.
Initially,
if you think that I think.
We did, but not initially. She needed somewhere to stay. She was in a bad relationship, Your Honor, and she needed to leave that house. So she came and lived with me.
That's all right. At some point, it transitioned. Yeah, at some point it transitioned.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point it transitioned into back living as a family.
Yes, ma'am.
With your 4 children.
Yes, ma'am. It was on and off
She
again.
lived there until, Mr. Mercer. And, sir, at some point, you say in 2020, she moved out. She says it was 2019. You got to get your story straight, folks.
That's what I understand.
Yeah, I understand that.
That's the problem.
And at one point, when it was on, you took out a loan. Now, she says one of the reasons you took out a big loan is because you made some repairs to the house with some of that money. I don't really care whether you made repairs to the house or whether she bought a car. You were living together as a family with your 4 children.
Your Honor, no, it wasn't. It was a tumultuous relationship, and I don't even... The whole premise of what she said, Your Honor, was that she never leave the house with the children. The children always stayed with me. That's part of the problem. There's a truth-telling problem. So we were off and on again quite frequently. Between that time of being there and back.
Listen, Mr. Mercer, the only thing that I'm concerned about is with your on-again, off-again tumultuous relationship with your wife, you have 4 children and you have 2 young ones. They're the only victims of your irresponsible behavior and hers.
I agree, Your Honor.
They're the only yo-yos. Sometimes they have a mother in the house. Sometimes they don't have a mother in the house. Judge did a long hearing. You got custody of the 4 children. She took the 2 little ones, she says, to live with her early on. Then she came back, and at some point you bought a car while she was living there. And Mr. Mercer, Mr. Mercer,
she had a car.
You're not getting any money from her.
You're
not getting any money from her.
I'm trying to tell you, initially $100 for that car to be repaired first, and then from there she got another car, and I tried to convince her to buy something of a lesser value, but no, she had to have this car, and she needed to do it, had a rebuilt title, Your Honor. So she couldn't take a traditional loan through a bank, and she had bad credit. So I took that loan, and she was going to take that car and take it to get it refinanced once it was in her possession. This is what it was supposed to be easier for her to do that. And then it would be in her name, her car, on her loan. So it was supposed to be a short thing, Your Honor, where it had anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. So then she started paying on it. She paid on it over a year. She has right here, Your Honor, she paid out of her own account for over a year. And then once
Did she pay you any rent? Did you, just a second, stop talking a second. Did she pay you any rent when she was living there?
No, she paid. She was still paying child support, Your Honor. That's what I'm saying. This was off and on. It wasn't a happy family. There was a lot of issues. And I have the children all throughout, Your Honor.
Don't give your ex-wife any more money. She must have some serious problems. But that's not something that courts get involved with, sir.
Well, it shouldn't be my responsibility, Your Honor.
Yeah,
because
it is your responsibility. You took out the loan.
And
you took out the loan. You also were the one who had sex with her in your house with your 4 children, like you were all living together. This is not something that courts deal with.
Your case is completed. Parties are excused.
No, I think it's ridiculous.
I'm very thankful with the results that Judge Judy was able to see through my ex-husband.
I'm being the responsible one, so now once again I'm beating it.
It's a long, long battle I dealt with for many, many years.
Yeah, I was silly. I shouldn't have let her back in. But once again, I guess I'll pay for that.
He's upset that the relationship ended.
No more loans.
Probably never get married again.
All parties in the matter of Sarkisian versus Zamora. Step to the podium, please.
Artin Sarkisian is suing his former tenant, Adela Zamora, for unpaid rent and attorney fees.
Mr. Sarkisian, this is your tenant, was your tenant. You purchased a building, according to your complaint, in 2017. It was a 4-unit building, and the defendant had been a tenant there when you purchased the building. Subsequent to your purchasing the building, you created new leases with your tenants, including the defendant. So far, am I accurate?
That is accurate.
Do you have a copy of the lease that you created with Ms. Zamora?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
So here's page 1.
Okay. And who are listed as occupants of that apartment?
The occupants are Alika, Isaiah, and Jaden.
Okay, and that's the lease that you created, and at least one of those people who were listed as the premises will also be used by the following people. Is one of those people the brother that you have an issue with now?
Correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I have a newborn baby, and the house is horrible.
Listen to me. If you don't like something, you move.
Right,
so
that's
you
why I
decided
did.
to move, but you ate the steak. You lived there for 9 days.
Artin Sarkissian says former tenant Adela Zamora moved out owing for rent. Adela is countersuing for poor living conditions and harassment.
Okay, so now this is what the case is about. Several years later, in October or perhaps before October, when you were on a month-to-month basis with the defendant, she gave you notice that she was going to be moving out on October the 9th. She paid her September's rent. She moved out on October 9th. Part of your lawsuit is for the 9 days that she lived there that she did not pay rent, which my rudimentary math translates into $558. If you live in the apartment for 9 days in October.
I did, yes.
Did you pay him for the 9 days in October?
I did not, but my rent was due on the 10th every month.
Well, I don't care when it was due. It was beginning October 1st, so it may have been your last day to pay, October 10th.
Yes.
So you owe him the $558
I believe I don't
for the
owe
9
him
days
it
that you...
because of the situation that the house is in. I have a newborn baby, and the house is horrible. I don't...
Listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me. If you don't like something, you move.
Right,
so
that's why I
you decided
did.
to move, but you ate the steak. You lived there for 9 days.
Yes, because I
Just
believed
like
he would
you lived
fix
there in
the
month of
situation.
Listen, you lived there for years. You lived
Yes.
there in 17, 18, 19,
Right.
20. You owe him $558 for the 9 days you stayed there. This is the second part of your lawsuit, which is going to be dismissed. I'm telling you now, because you're not suing her for $558. You're suing her for $5,000 because you say she allowed her brother, who I assume is that person sitting next to you.
Yes.
Is that right, Ms. Zamora?
Yes.
She allowed him into the apartment, and he subsequently became a squatter. And he hasn't paid you rent. You had to get a lawyer involved to try to get him out. You couldn't get him out. He's still living there. You can't get him out because of the COVID moratorium. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you want to put her on the line for that because she let him move in. No, you let him move in, sir,
Well,
because you put him on your lease.
But yes, Your Honor, I have text messages proving that they did move out in April of this year, and then Ms. Zamora had kicked them out because
That was my other brother, actually.
they wouldn't pay rent.
Don't interrupt him.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't pay rent.
It
so
doesn't matter to me. He was on the original lease.
Correct.
You can't sue her. If you
But
can't
she
sue
is the
him, you
signee
can't
of.
sue her.
But she's the
there.
signee of the lease. She's the one responsible. In the lease, it clearly states when you
No,
terminate the lease.
Just
Good.
she terminated the lease for her.
Correct.
She owes you $558. You think that you have a cause of action against her brother? Use it.
Well, in the
Use it against her brother. She's not paying you anything other than the $558
But on
that
the
she
lease,
owes you for 9 days.
On the lease, under Section 19, upon vacating, you're supposed to take all persons and personal property with you.
Carefully listen to me. She's paying you $558. They were month to month after the 2017. Was that renewed every year?
Continued as month.
$558. That's your judgment. Now, just for my own information, Ms. Zamora.
Yes.
How does your brother get money for food?
So right now he gets
That brother.
He gets food stamps. So CalFresh.
And how does he get money for clothes?
He was working, but since the pandemic, they cut his hours at work. So he was working.
Who was he working? Just a second. Who was he working for, Ms. Zamora?
He was working for Wingstop as a customer service representative.
For who?
Wingstop, fast food restaurant.
Was he working in the store?
He was working in the store.
From an office?
In the store.
And when you say they cut his hours, from what to what?
So he was getting 40 hours. They cut him maybe to like 20 to 25 a week.
And he's paid by check?
He's paid by check, yes. Bi-weekly.
Does he have any other dependents?
He does. He has his son and his wife.
Where is his wife?
His wife is at the residence that we're here about.
And what does his wife do for a living?
She does not work.
Why?
Right now, because she has to take care of a 3-year-old kid and she's pregnant.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
This is a terrible, terrible time. And the government really wanted to protect people who had lost their jobs. But if you're working, you at least make some effort to pay something towards your rent.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Artin Sarkisian says former tenant Adela Zamora moved out owing for rent. Adela is countersuing for poor living conditions and harassment.
All right, Mr. Sarkisian.
Yes.
Looks to me you're going to have to wait until there's a vaccine or until they lift that moratorium.
Correct.
You now know who he works for, and you know that he gets paid by check bi-weekly. Do you understand?
Well, according to them, he does not work. So now she's saying he does work.
He's been there for a year and a half, and we can get proof of that.
Well, that's a year and a half. That's not years. He works there. She says he works there.
Okay. So I will file a lawsuit against him next.
File a lawsuit against him. I mean, the moratorium against eviction for non-payment of rent is really for people who lost their jobs during the pandemic or who were suffering financially during the pandemic. And it's going to have to be up to your brother to, at some point, address why he was working, and he's still working, and he's living his life. He has a wife. He has a child. He thought he had sufficient financial resources to make another child. It's fair.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, it's going to have to be up to your brother. He has a wife. He has a child. He thought he had sufficient financial resources to make another child, but he doesn't pay his rent. You think that that's fair?
I don't think that
You think that that's fair?
No.
It's not fair. It's not fair. This is a terrible, terrible time. And the government really wanted to protect people who had lost their jobs from having a whole swath of the country homeless.
Right.
But if you're working, you at least make, even if they reduce your hours, you at least make some effort to pay something towards your rent and say, listen, I'm going to give you more as soon as my hours are back up. But right now they cut my hours to whatever it is, so I'm going to pay you half the rent. I'm going to pay you a quarter of the rent. But to say, I mean, is your brother an unintelligent man?
He's not. They have like a lot of finances like that.
Just a second. So he moved in. He lives there with his wife, a 3-year-old, and bringing another baby in. And your counterclaim is that the apartment was in terrible condition.
It's in very terrible condition.
And you want to be compensated for that. Well, that's dismissed. $558. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're done.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We got into a disagreement and an argument over my boyfriend, the fact that they didn't like him and they didn't want him over anymore.
Did he ever do in your apartment anything unlawful?
Judge Judy.
Looks like I'll be having to go after the brother next.
The police got involved because he was saying that they were trespassing, which was very incorrect.
So I went there with my contractor to change the locks, and they wouldn't get out. So when the police came, they said, this is an eviction case.
He was not trespassing. He was on the lease since 2017.
She would call me, and then 5 minutes later call the health department. I never wanted her kicked out.
The health department, okay, there was molding in the house, no heating in the house. There was infestation of rodents.
It's time to go back to court.
I'm just done.
You're in the sneaker collection business.
He spent hundreds for a high-style.
You have them authenticated.
I did not have them authenticated.
You took the sneakers and then went home.
But he didn't watch his step.
You claim they were fakes.
We did a UV light test, which is an indicator of them not being authentic.
Sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug.
This is Judge Judy. 20-year-old Leonardo Franco and his brother Alonzo are suing Ryan Padilla for allegedly defrauding them regarding the sale of tennis shoes.
Judges, case number 161 on the calendar in the matter of Franco versus Padilla. Parties have been sworn in. Have a seat, gentlemen.
Thank you, Bird. Mr. Franco, you and your brother are collectors of rare sneakers. And I've been doing this a long time. This is probably the second or third case that I've heard of people who collect these unusual sneakers. Just for my own information, I don't think I've asked before. What makes these rare sneakers?
Well, what makes them exclusive is basically because of the low amount of stock that's in them. See, Jordan and Off-White had a collaboration, so a lot of people, well, they admire both of those brands.
Jordan and Off-White, are those two brands?
Yeah, they're two different brands. Off-White being a designer brand, Jordan being, well, the Jordan. And they release little pictures and snippets of the shoes. People desire them, and they hype it up, which is basically just a lot of people wanting these shoes, and the fact that they come out with such little quantity and such mass of want for them. It just drives
advertising.
Yeah, right.
All right. Okay. How long have you been a sneaker collector?
Well, me personally, only really just a year. My little brother's actually the one that got me into it. He's been the one that's just been around sneakers basically all his life.
Okay. So, Mr. Franco, how long have you been a sneaker buff?
I've been into sneakers for about, I would say, 8 years. My older brother, he would also collect sneakers, and being around that environment made me enjoy them, and I've just been following them ever since.
How long have you been purchasing them?
Since I was younger, I've never had money to buy my own, but lately I have been able to afford my own sneakers.
So for the past year. And in the past year, how many pairs of sneakers have you purchased on your own?
I would say about 20.
When you've purchased 20 pairs of sneakers, what have you done with them?
Just collect them. You don't want to wear them too much every day.
So you keep them?
Yeah. You pick selected days when you want to wear them because, for example, you don't want to ruin them. So it's very rare when you wear them. But yeah, for the most part.
And the money to buy them?
I sometimes buy it, and sometimes people do want it. So if I don't particularly like it, or if it's not in my size, I sell it to people, obviously for more than retail because of the hype. So many people want it. And then from there, the money that I collect, I can pick and choose which ones I want to buy.
So you do, in fact, sell some of the sneakers that you buy?
Yes.
So you're in the process of buying and selling?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you sell them, how do you sell them? Do you put ads online?
Yeah, you can do it many ways. There's third-party sellers that they take fees as well, but you can also try to sell them yourself and post them up yourself.
Okay. Alonzo, let's stop for a moment. You buy a pair of sneakers.
Yes.
Very fancy fuchsia green sneakers.
Yes.
And it's not your size, but they're unusual. You pay $500 for them.
That's for resale.
You decide to sell them, and you want to go to a third party. How do you get this third party?
You post it up on their site, so you send them to the third party, and then from there, they authenticate it and legit check it. Once it's been authenticated, they send it to the person who has bought it.
Okay, so the third party buys the $500 sneakers from you. They authenticate it. If they don't authenticate it, can they send it back to you?
Yes, that is right.
Now, how much do they pay you for it?
Every shoe depends.
This shoe that I just described, $500, not your size, very, very funny shade of green. How much would they pay you for it?
Well, for retail, this shoe retailed around $220, $500.
Not retail. I'm asking you what the third-party buyer would give you for it.
Around $500.
So the same thing that you bought it?
Well, these weren't to buy to keep.
Alonzo, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying to you. I want you to take the sneakers that are on the table and put them on the floor. Take the sneakers that are on the table, put them on the floor so we don't get confused. Now we're not confused. Now we're talking about a pair of ugly green sneakers that are not your size, and you sell them to a third party. You purchase them for $500. How much does a third-party broker pay you for the sneakers that you've paid $500 for?
Around the same.
Not about. You can't sell them for the same price that you paid for them. You don't make any money if you do that. Don't you understand that?
Yes.
Is it all right if I step in and help him out? Because I feel like he's just a little confused. Basically, so let's just say...
unconfuse us. You pay $500 for ugly green sneakers. You want to sell them to Phil. You put an ad on, okay? And what do you sell the $500 shoes to Phil for?
It's whatever someone is willing to put up. When you sell through StockX, you don't sell to a specific person. You kind of just put up an offer saying, hey, I'm willing to sell it for this much, while someone else is saying, okay, but I'm willing to only spend this much. So you can either keep your ad up for your price, or you can just accept the bid. It always fluctuates. It's never going to be the same, basically.
Yeah, all right. It's very confusing to me in business. Who's this third party? What does this third party do?
When, let's say, I sell a shoe, I send it to them, and all they're doing is making sure that the shoes that I sold them are in fact real, authentic, and they're not fakes. And once they've authenticated,
and how much do they get for doing that?
They get 8%.
So you buy a pair of shoes online, you buy them for $500, you pay somebody 8% to authenticate them, and once you get them authenticated, you put up a bidding process and you say, all right, I have these sneakers, I want $900 for them. At the appropriate time, or I want $800, and then somebody says, I'll give you $8. Is that what happens?
Yeah, exactly.
And when you put up the ad, do you put up in the ad that they've been authenticated?
Everything on that you sell through them has to be authenticated. They don't sell anything fake.
So they actually, for 8%...
They are selling it for us.
Okay, so you sent it to a third party, and they sell it to you, and they take 8% off the top of the price that they get for the sneakers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you sell your sneakers that you buy by sending them to a company whose business it is to authenticate sneakers, and then they sell your sneakers and say to you, I got this bid or I got that bid, do you want to take it or not? Is that correct?
We control how much we want to sell it for. So, for example, if I were to have a pair of Jordans and I just go on their website and say, okay, I want to sell it for $280, someone buys it, okay, now I send it out, then they authenticate it. Once it's authenticated, they ship it to the person.
I understand. All right, this is the case. You bought a pair of sneakers from the defendant and claimed they were fakes. That's the case, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now that I know how you run your part of the business, because you're also in buying and selling, tell me how you found this pair of sneakers.
So we found this on OfferUp, which is just a place where you can also buy and sell, but that's more private seller. There's no middleman or anything. You just meet up with them and you either buy it or sell it.
Just a second. So you bought through
OfferUp.
That was private, and no one see the ad.
We saw it on November 8th of 2020.
Do you have a copy of the ad?
Yeah, I do, right here.
I'd like to take a look at it.
So that's just the main screen. I don't know if you'd like me to just swap the papers to see all the pictures.
No, I would just like you to show me the ad that you saw that drew you to the sneakers.
It's this one right here.
Jordan 5 Off-White, size 11, Rialto, posted one day ago. Ryan. Who's Ryan?
That's me.
And when did you go to see the sneakers?
Yeah, I texted him, and we both agreed for $550. He sent us his address, and we just went over. We will try to authenticate it ourselves.
Just one second. Just a second. You and your brother went over to Ryan's house.
Yes.
And he showed you the sneakers.
Yes.
Did you ask any questions?
Well, we did, like, stuff, but it was more of, like, chit-chat. We didn't really ask him much about the sneakers itself.
So you just looked at the sneakers. You had agreed on a price of $550, and you paid him the $550.
Yes.
Did you get a receipt?
At the time, no. But once we arrived home...
That's what I asked you. At the time, you gave him the $550 and took the sneakers.
Right.
The deal was concluded. And then you went home on the same date, November 8th.
Right.
And then what did you do?
So at that point, we noticed that he had a receipt in the picture, but it wasn't in the box. So we texted him saying...
Okay, let's put on the picture again, please. Okay. Now, that's what you bought. You bought the sneakers. And show me the receipt.
Okay.
Point to the receipt.
Basically, you can see it's like right here, but I do have another picture that shows it just shows the picture. I don't know if you want me to pull that up.
No. You're talking about that little piece of paper over there on the side of a box?
Yeah.
Point it exactly with your finger. That's a box.
Yeah, it's the box right here.
You're talking about that little piece of...
Yeah. That right there is the receipt.
What's the receipt?
That white, I guess, thing you see next to the box.
Right, that little piece of white paper.
Yes.
Okay, so now you go home, and what happened?
So I texted him to ask him for the receipt, and he just wasn't responding. So we started getting a little, I guess, worried at that point. We're like, okay, let me do a black light test, because we did have a UV light test. So once we brought the UV light out, shined it on the shoes, it started glowing. Basically, the stitching on the shoe started glowing, which is an indicator of them not being authentic, because they're not supposed to be glowing.
This blue light.
Oh,
this light.
It's a flashlight. It's like a flashlight, basically.
It's a flashlight.
Yeah. It's this one.
Oh, that you could take with you to the defendant's house, and you didn't.
Yeah, it was my fault because I just simply forgot it.
But we're just putting together the story.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The only way that you have any possible way of winning this case is to show me that he found out they were fakes.
Does it matter if he himself said that they were real?
Don't tell me it doesn't matter. Don't tell me it doesn't matter.
Closed captioning is provided by Leonardo Franco and his brother Alonzo claim Ryan Padilla sold them an allegedly counterfeit pair of tennis shoes.
So far, you're in the sneaker collection business, you and your brother, for a long time. You both buy and sell sneakers, and you keep some that you like very much. In this case, you did not go through a third party. You went to a private party with sneakers that had not been authenticated. You went, you saw the sneakers, you looked them up, then went home. And then you took your flashlight and flashed them on the sneakers and said, oh, this is not the right color stitching. It's an indication that they're fake. So you called him.
Yeah, I texted him.
And what happened?
At first, I just texted him for the receipt. He just left me on red, like he didn't respond at all. So then that's when we decided to take it to actual authenticators just to get 100% knowing that these are fake, which are my witnesses here. We took it to their store. They saw the shoes and just pointing out many different reasons as to why they were fake. And at that point, we text them and say, hey, if you don't give us our money back, we're just going to be forced to sue you. And at that point is when he told us that whatever we did in the 24-hour period of us having the shoes is up to us. What he sold us were real shoes, and basically, that's that.
I'm going to hear what he has to say.
Right.
But he's right. That's that. Okay, now we're up to you. Where did you buy the sneakers from?
I bought them off the same site, OfferUp.
When did you buy them?
A few days before. I have the receipt, how much I paid for them, if you want to look at that.
I do.
I paid $400 for them. It was a withdrawal for the shoes.
Well, that doesn't tell me where it went. So what you're telling me is you bought them a couple of days before.
Yeah.
Not yeah. This is a court. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
You want to say yes,
Yes, Your
twice,
Honor.
you can say yes. Perfect. Even better. Even more perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I am taking for granted that these sneakers may not be authentic. You had the possibility of authenticating them. You chose not to do that. You completed the sale. So sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Leonardo Franco and his brother Alonzo are accusing Ryan Padilla of selling them an allegedly counterfeit pair of tennis shoes.
How long have you been in this sneaker selling business?
About 6 months.
Do you know about this third-party authenticator?
Yeah, I also purchased through Go and StockX.
Great. These sneakers in question, did you buy them through a private person or through an authenticator?
Through a private person, Your Honor.
Okay, and the name of this private person?
It was Jay.
And did you go to Jay's house?
Yes, similar to what they did.
Okay, and you paid him $400 for the sneakers?
I did not have them authenticated.
Did you have a blue light with you, similar to the ones that the plaintiff described?
Yes, that's what I was going to say earlier. I had a blue light at the house, and I actually let them use it on the shoes, so...
Nope, he did not.
Did you take the blue light when you brought it to Jay's house?
Yes, I did.
Did you use the blue light at Jay's house?
Yes, I did.
And you still gave Jay the $400?
Yes, I did.
Were these shoes in your size?
No, they weren't.
So you were buying them to resell?
Yes.
When you put them on for sale for $600 and you settled, so that means you made a quick $150.
Yes, Your Honor.
Perfectly fine, entrepreneurial way to do business. Let's go back to you. The only way that you can be successful, Mr. Franco, in my judgment, which is the only one that counts here, is if you had evidence that he knew, and the only way he could know was taking them to an authenticator who advised him that they were fake sneakers. Your contract with him was concluded when you went to his house. You were certainly not restricted in any way from inspecting the shoes. The ad for the shoes did not indicate that they had been authenticated by any company.
Said that they were real.
Don't tell me it doesn't matter. That's called puffing. This is the ad. You are not a naive buyer. You both buy and sell sneakers in a very sophisticated fashion in order to make side money, which is exactly what the defendant does. This is a strictly contract sale. You went, you saw them, you actually had the capacity to take your flashlight with you and shine the light on, which might have given you a clue that, I'm not sure these are real. I'm going to have to take them to an authenticator. You could have done that, but you didn't. You took them home, you negotiated a price, you went and saw them, you said, I like them, you took them home, you gave him the money, contract is finished. Now, the only way that you can demonstrate to me that you have any possible way of winning this case is to show me that between the time he says he bought them and the time he sold them to you, he found out they were fakes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Real Cases, Real People. Judge Judy. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook.
Now, the only way that you can, I'm going to say it again, demonstrate to me that you have any possible way of winning this case is to show me that between the time he says he bought them and the time he sold them to you, he found out they were fakes.
Well, the only way
and you can't do that. Your contract is concluded. I don't need to speak to an expert. I am taking for granted that these sneakers may not be authentic. That's your problem. You had the possibility of authenticating them. You chose not to do that. You completed the sale. So sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug. Today you were the bug. Next time you'll be smarter. Your case is dismissed. We're finished.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. This case is concluded.
And on the next Judge Judy.
The pet that you decided on was a tortoise.
We took her to the vet. That's when they told us that she had pneumonia and she was too far gone.
Do you remember any of the tortoises getting sick?
Judge Judy.
I invited them to my house, so they're comfortable with coming over and authenticating the shoes.
I'm not a shoe authenticator, you know. I'm just a normal guy just trying to buy some shoes that I like.
I let them spend as much time with checking out.
That's why I thought they were legit, but I mean, when we did the test, like, they are fakes. Like, the shoes are fakes.
I did. I had one on the side of the mantle for them if they wanted to use it. So
basically, if you were to shine your a black light onto a shoes, the stitching on the shoe itself is not supposed to glow.
I told them if you would like the black light, it's right here for you to use.
But if it starts to glow, that just shows that they're coming from, well, not from Nike itself.
A lot of people right now are struggling, so they would like to make